Andrei, intrăm live în 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Andrei Radu and I'm first year student at FILS, Facultatea de Inginerie în Limbi Străine for Polytechnica Bucharest. And today I'm gonna present to you the React Native webinar. I hope everything is alright here. I can see myself as well, so everything is going amazing. First of all, thank you very much for having me today and taking time to just come and see me and try to learn something new. And I want to congratulate you as well. And well, I want to make this webinar as content rich as possible, and I will try to cover as much as possible in the little time we have, 2 hours. So with anything else to say, we can start. Our plan for today will be to do a React Native application. It will be a Notes app. I will go with something simple that will cover a lot of things. What this will show us is how we can navigate between screens with React Navigation. We will see how buttons work, how we can go from one screen to another using the button. We will see conditional rendering. In this case, if we don't have any nodes, it will show us this image. In case we do have nodes, it will show us the nodes, as you can see right here. We will see how contact forms work in React Native, use state. I will talk about some React concepts as well, but we will not dive very deep in it because we don't need it, to be honest. And I think that will be our plan for this webinar. So we can just go to the next. The first thing, okay. When you access a website, okay, let's start with websites because React Native is based on web view. It shows us like some website, okay. When we try to access a website on the web, we just, this is us, okay. We send a request for the server. For example, we try to access our website, and it will just return us the content. This is called a static site. Okay, so nothing interesting happens here. Well, why was React? This is React. Okay, this is how it looks. Why does React exist? Well, what we do is we send a request, and before getting the request to the server, React will say stop right here. Let's see what you want, what you need, and I will show you that thing. Okay, so it will display an initial page that will be index. Okay, we will call it index. It's the main page, and he will look for components. Okay, and he says, okay, we have this component and this component, so I will return back the website made with these components. And he will also be looking all the time to the state of the variables. Okay, so in React we have state, that is the current value of a variable, and when the value changes, the state changes, and when the state changes, React will change the component and send it back to you, will re-render the page. Okay, so that's why it's called React, because it will react to changes. So this will be React in a nutshell. And this is like the main reason that's why React exists. It also exists because we have the website that will be separated in a lot of components. Okay, so we can just make one file out of other components. Okay, so we can just separate the content in a lot of files, and it will be a lot easier to work with it and to expand it and things like that. The next thing I want to show you is how a state in React will look, because in React Native we can use both React and React Native. I know it may sound logical, but React is made for the web and React Native is made for mobile phones. And we declare the constant. Okay, here we will set the name of the variable, the state name, and then we will have a function. Okay, this function will set the new value for state, and this is it's called a hook, a React hook called use state, and this will be the initial value. Okay, then when you want to change something, for example, let's say we press a button and the button will call this function right here. Okay, the set state name with the new value. Okay, the any value we want. When this happens, the state will change, and then React will react to this change and re-render the component with the new value. Okay, so this is what React is all about. Another core concept that I want to explain to you is how components work in React. Okay, so we have one file. Okay, so we have one file for one component. Okay, let's say this is the component. It's a function, and the function can or cannot, this is optional, receive parameters, okay, or properties. If you did before informatics, of course you know what parameters are. So we pass parameters, okay, and here will go the JavaScript logic. Here we declare the states, here we declare the variables, we do the functions, etc. And then we return. What we return, it's called JSX. It looks like HTML, but it's not HTML. They are composed by React components. You will see them. React components will always have the first letter capital, so will always be capitalized. So if you see something that looks like HTML but it's not HTML, okay, like for example, it's not H1 or P or A anchor tag, it will be React. And we make the function. It will do its thing. It will have the logic. It will have the visual stuff. And then you need to export it. Okay, so this file will by default export this function right here. And then let's go to another file. The next file, the function name number 2, the component number 2, will import, and then we assign the name for the component from, and this is the path to the other component. Okay, if it looks complex, just don't mind, because we will get to it. We will do a lot of practical work today, and you will see that it's so easy. So this new function or component will do exactly the same as the first. It will take some parameters, it will do some more JavaScript logic, and here he will have his visual stuff, and then you can implement the another component by doing this. Okay, so as I said before, it looks like HTML because it's tag. Okay, it has tags, and the first letter is capitalized. Okay, so doing this will display the component in this new component. The next thing I want to explain to you, and it's very important, not just for React Native, it's important for the web in general, because the web is evolving, and it created, I don't know if I can say it already created, or it will create a new standard that is using JSON objects. Okay, JavaScript object notation. That's what JSON means. I made a typo, I'm sorry, they are not JSON objects, it's just JSON, okay, and JSON is JavaScript object notation. Here we have a JavaScript object, it looks like this. We have the key and value pair, and we have name Jacob and age 18, okay. Well, this is what a JavaScript object looks like, and this is what JSON looks like. JSON looks exactly the same as JavaScript objects. The thing is, it's a string, okay, so everything will be treated as a string. So we can put here as well this for the strings, okay, and we have this string that will have key and value pair as well, and everything is a string. We will work with JSONs today, and we will need to know these two functions, very important. They come already installed with JavaScript and Node, so we can use it directly. And we have first JSON parse. This is to convert a string to a JavaScript object. Okay, so this is to convert the JSON string to an object. So we do JSON.parse. Okay, JSON is an object, parse is the method for this object, and we will pass this this string, and then the string will return a JavaScript object. Okay, so for example, we could just do const to declare the variable var name, and then JSON.parse the string, and this variable right here will be a JavaScript object. And to do the inverse, okay, to convert an object to a JSON string, we will just JSON stringify, and we will pass the object, okay, and it will convert, for example, this to this. And these are the core concepts that I wanted to show you today. Very simple, I hope, and we can get to the next one. So what is React Native? Why do we use it? Why is it so important? Because right now it's used by a lot of main companies. It's used even by Facebook. So if Facebook uses, of course, uses it, of course, is good. And we have the next. We have React Native, okay, and we will create the page by itself, the screen, using React components. For example, text, for example, image, for example, touchable opacity. This is a button. We have the view, and then we will build the application, and React Native will say, okay, I want this. These are my components. I want you to display me this in your native code for Android and for iOS. We can create websites using React Native as well, but we will not do that today. And what will we do? It will use, it's called a bridge. The bridge will convert the React code into native code. So it will transform in native UI, and it will return the page or the screen. And the screen will be this right here. This is React Native. I don't think there are more things that I need to explain about React Native, to be honest. This is like the essentials. I can deep dive more in this, but we don't need to be honest. We have a little bit more, and I finished with the theory, so don't fall asleep yet, please. And well, as I showed you before, these are React Native components. In this case, mainly we don't create these components, they will give it to us. So these are React native components, to say it like that. And we have the text, we have the image, we have text input for the inputs, we have a flat list for creating a list of more displays, more components, let's say like that. Well, this is what React Native components look. Then this is the tag, okay, and it can have attributes, okay, or props. They are called props in React. So for example, to let's say text input, we can add placeholder that will be equal, and then we can pass a placeholder, okay. But we will see that later. And for example, touchable opacity, it will have on press that will be equal to some JavaScript code, okay. And then right here we can define or call the function that we want to call when we press the button. Alright, so this is React Native, and we will work more exactly with Expo. It's called Expo. Expo is a toolset, and we will use Expo because it's very easy to work with React Native. If you wanted to work with native React Native, to call it like that, it would have been a lot harder. But with Expo, what we can do is, if you saw the video for the environment setup, you saw that we installed the Expo Go application. With Expo, we can just create write the code. We start a server, to call it like that, and it will hot reload on any device. So in your device you will install Expo Go, and it will simulate the application. So you don't need to, like, after making the code, you don't need to build it and then deploy the application, send it to your device, install it, things like that, okay. So you can work on real time, you can see the changes in real time. Every time we save, it will, as I said before, hot reload. It means when you save, it will reload instantly. And also Expo has a lot of packets, okay, because we will use npm, it's called Node Package Manager, to install packets. Packets are like libraries, to say it like that, from the community that will bring functionalities to us, so we don't need to do them from scratch. And Expo has a lot of very useful packages. For example, Expo Constants will give us, it's very used by me personally, to take the status bar height, okay. So the status bar where you have the time, the notification icons, the Wi-Fi icon, etc. Expo Constant will give you that height for every device, excuse me, dynamically. We will use Expo Async Storage today to store data. I didn't dive in backend because I don't think the time will let us do that. So to store and manipulate data and store data, we will use Async Storage. And there are a lot of more Expo packages like Expo Camera, Expo Fonts, etc. that will help us introduce functionalities very easily. And to be honest, I think that's it with Expo. Let's see as well the workflow of the application, okay. So we have only two screens. We have the main screen right here. As I said before, this will be a conditional rendering. I will show you, it's very easy. It's just putting a variable and two more characters, and that's it, okay. I will explain it to you later. And we will have here a button, and we press the button and it will take us to this page, this screen right here, where we will put the task title, the description, and when we press create, it will take the data, it will store it in Expo Async Storage, and then it will take us back to the main page. And on the main page we will use, you will see it's called use focus effect. Use focus effect is another React hook, so everything that starts with use, it will be a React hook. With use focus effect, we will call a function every time a screen is focused, every time we access a screen. So when this screen comes to our screen, okay, so when this page, let's call it like that, comes to our mobile phone screen, it will fire the function that we will set. In this case, we will set a function to take all the data from the async storage and display it on our screen. And it will look like this. As you can see, for each node in async storage, we will create a component that we will display with flatlist. Flatlist is used for this, and as I said before, this will be the view. The thing is, for this we will use a view, for this will be another view, and every view is in another view. So if you know HTML, it's like divs. Okay, they are containers. So the displaying a view component will not show you will show you nothing. Okay, so inside of view we will group every component. And one more thing to mention, if you want to render some text like this is a text, okay, we need to put it inside the text component. If we try to put it in vid, in nothing, it will throw us an error. Okay, you will see it. And to be honest, that's it. We can start writing code. So now we will open VS Code, okay, and we will do it like this. We will hit File, Open Folder, and we will create a new folder. Okay, so new folder, we will call it Hardcore 4, for example. It doesn't matter, you can call it whatever you want, and we will select folder. We'll hit Yes, I trust the authors, and we'll close this. And let's hit Ctrl and J, and it will open a terminal right here. Okay, so I will mention this again. You need to have Node installed. Okay, so you need you should have watched the video for the environment setting. So if you have Node installed, we will run npx create expo app. Okay, and we hit enter. And it will ask us what's your app name. Let's say Hardcore 4. Again, enter. We wait a little bit. It will install everything. It will install the packets. It will install Expo and anything else. And meanwhile it's installing, let's start the Expo Go application. Okay, so the steps will be exactly the same. In case you have your mobile device physically and you didn't want to use Android Studio, if you have the Expo Go application installed, then the steps will be exactly the same as you can see right now on my screen. Okay, so we will open the Expo Go application. Let me delete this. Okay, I did some tests before, and if we have here the Expo Go application is good. For the Android Studio users, let me close this. Let me take you again to, through the steps to open the mobile application. We open Android Studio, then we go right here on the upper right side. We will hit these three dots. We go to Virtual Device Manager, and here you should have created a new Android device. Okay, so you hit plus in case you didn't do this. You will hit Pixel 4 XL is what I use. You can use anything, but this is the best one I recommend. We hit next. We select any Android we want. I will go with Android 12, and then we will hit finish. Okay, so I already did this. I will use the device that I had before, and we hit this start button right here. We wait for it as well. If this shows up to you, just don't mind. Okay, there is no problem with it. Now we can close these windows right here, and we will have the phone started. Okay, now what we need to do is change directory, because right now this is the terminal. It opened in the folder that we had before, but now for the project, when we hit create Expo app, it created a new folder where he put all the files. So now we need to write cd and the name of the project, in this case Hardcore 4. We hit enter, and right now, as you can see, we are inside this folder. Okay, and now we need to write npm run start, enter. In case it asks you this, you will just hit yes, and we wait for it to start. Meanwhile, okay, this is it. Let's I hope everything is all right here. You can see it. And now you will have here a code QR generated. Okay, if you are on your physical device, you will need to take your your camera up and just scan this code QR, and it will take you automatically to the Expo Go application. Of course, you need to have it installed. In case you are with your Android device, you will copy this. Also, for the physical device users, make sure that you are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. If you don't, it will not work. Okay, so in case you are in the Android Studio device, you will copy this. You will go to your device, click, and you will see that you will have in the phone's clipboard as well the same thing you copied, and then you paste it and hit connect. We wait for it. Okay, and then we click here on this app.js. This will be our main file. And if we look at our phone, this is the project. Okay, so we just started the project. Now, if we, instead of this, we will write hello world, and we hit Ctrl S. Okay, we return to the phone. We will see that it reloaded. Good. Now, let's just start coding. Okay, as I said before. Okay, wait. This status bar, we don't need it. Okay, so we can delete it, and this as well. Let's delete this style as well. I will show you how to do styles in a second. So we delete this as well, and then we delete this prop or attribute as well. This is what an attribute looks like. Okay, so we delete it, we remove it, and then we'll Ctrl S, check if everything is alright. Yeah, we can see that here the text, so everything is good. Well, now this will be the main view. This will be our screen. So we will leave it like this, and now we will make a new view. So we write view, and don't forget about the closing tag as well. And inside of it, we will hit enter, text, and we will write right here notes. If we Ctrl S and we go to the Android device, we will see like this right here that it changed as well. So now let's create a style, const styles. Okay, so this is a variable. We call it how we want. In this case, I will call it styles. It will be equal to style sheet dot create. Okay, so this is this style sheet is an object offered by React, and this is a method on it. So we will create a new style sheet, and inside of it we need to open brackets for an object, and now each object that we will create inside of it will be a new style. So now we want screen, for example. We call it how we want, and we want the flex to be 1. What does this mean? The display will be flex, and it will grow as much as possible. So the screen will be flex. I hope you know Flexbox from CSS. It's exactly the same. When we hit flex 1, it will grow the view to the whole screen. Okay, so we Ctrl S, and now let's add the style to view. We will write style equals, we open brackets. Okay, so this is an attribute, and if you want to assign a JavaScript variable to it, we need to use brackets. Okay, so inside of JSX, let's say this is the visual part of it. If we want to return JavaScript code, we need to put it inside of brackets. Okay, so now we will write styles. We will address this variable that screen. Excuse me. So it will take styles object and will take the screen object inside of it, and it will return it to the style property. Okay, so we Ctrl S, and nothing happens for now, but its style, it's now attributed to it. Now let's do again the same, and this time let's create a header, and we will do a background color. Okay, with big C, capital C. Okay, so the only difference between this style sheet and the CSS one is that we don't have I don't know how it's called. We don't have this minus, to say it like that. Okay, so instead of minus in style sheets from React Native, we have capital letter. Okay, so now we put 2 dots, and we will say yellow. Okay, Ctrl S, and if we go to our application, okay, I forgot to attribute to it. Style equals styles dot header. Okay, and as you can see, it will change. And now let's start creating the styles. Let's do the next. Let's add a padding of 8, for example. No, let's do it more, 12. Okay, and let's change the text color, and it will be white. Okay, so this right here we need to attribute it to text. So we will make a new one. We'll call it header text, for example. I hope you're following me. If I'm going to face, just let me know, please. And this one's right here. We will cut them and paste them here. And we need to attribute it as well. So style equals that header text. Good. And well, it doesn't look good, so we need to add some font weight as well. Let's say bold. Maybe now looks a little bit more visible. No, so we will leave it in black because we can see this is not a UI UX good design. And the next thing I want to do is text align, and let's say center. Okay, and that's good. Okay, now let's create another view, and for now we will leave it like this. I will add the style equals and the styles dot notes list. Let's call it like this. Oops. Okay, notes list, and flex one as well. And for now we can leave it like this. Okay, now this is our main application file, so it's not a good practice to leave all the code like this, because if you are doing a large application, your code will have 10,000 lines of code, and trust me, that's not good. 10,000 lines of code in a single file, it's not good, something is wrong with it. So inside of the project folder, we will create a new folder. Okay, make sure that you are right now selecting this folder right here. We hit this button, and let's call it screens. Okay, and inside of screens we will create another folder, and this time we will call it main. Okay, and let's create another one by clicking the screens text, because right now it's selected the main. Let's hit the screens text, and let's create the create form folder. Okay, so now inside of main we create a file. Let's call it index.js, and right here let's create our first React Native component. To do that, we will do the next export default, and then how we want to call it, let's say main page equals, and now let's do an arrow function. I think this looks better. We could have just did export default function main page, and then like this we could have just did this, but to be honest, I prefer arrow functions. So we are exporting the component, and let's type return. Okay, and this will be the visual stuff. So we go to the app, app file. We will take all of this, Control X to cut it, and then we will go to main and paste it here. Okay, so now we have the component, and this will return the visual stuff. Okay, and also we need to cut this styles object. Okay, and give it to main. Good. Here we need to do it like this. These are some empty tags. In React you cannot return a component if there is more than one parent. Okay, so in this case we need to make only one parent, and inside of it will be all the components. We can create a view for this, or we can just put an empty tag. And good. Now how do we import this component? As I said before, we will write import, how we want to call it, in this case main page, from, and we will do the next. We hit dot and slash, because with dot and slash we go out of this file. Right now in the file system we are inside of this file app.js. With dot and slash we will go outside the file. Now we will write screens, okay, to access the screens folder, and then we will access the main folder. Okay, so we are importing the main page component from this folder right here. In this case it works because we have an index called index file. If we had another file called differently, it will have thrown an error. We should have put the name of the file. Okay, so in this case we will leave it like this. And now let's put right here main page. Okay, and this will display this component. If we hit Ctrl S and we go to our device, we will see an error. Why? Because it says style sheet doesn't exist, but that's not true. It does exist. The thing is, we need to import it, okay? Because as I said before, these are some native React Native components that React Native gives us. So we need to import them. We are not creating them, we are importing them. So we need to write import, then this for destructuring, and we have view, okay? So every React Native component we use, we need to import it, okay? In this case, we have view, then we have text as well, and style sheet is gave by React Native as well. So we need to import style sheet as well from React Native, okay? If we hit Ctrl S, okay, we need to put here comma. If we hit Ctrl S, now should work. Okay, so as you can see, it works. It imported the file, and congratulations, you just did your first React Native component. So let's get to the next. Now let's create the create form. Okay, so we will do exactly the same. We will create an index.js file, and let's say export default create form. Very, very important when you're doing React components. The first letter always capitalized, okay? Never forget it, it will throw an error. And it will be equal with an arrow function, return, and the return will have parentheses, okay? And let's return a view component. And now we need to import the view component from React Native, okay? And let's put some text inside of it. Let's call it the create form to test that it works. And now in app.js we will do the same. Import create form from screens, and in this case create form, okay? And let's display it. If we go to our device, it will give us an error because I forgot to import the text. Sorry. Okay, and nothing will display. Why? Because inside of main we have the where is it? The nodes list that is flex1. So right now it's occupying the whole screen, okay? And it will show like here, down here, okay? Good. Now the thing is, we don't want to see the main page for now, so we will create a comments in JSX. Attention, inside of the return, it will look like this. We have these brackets, okay, and then slash and star. Then we have star slash, okay, and as you can see, it doesn't show anymore because it's in a comment, so this code doesn't exist right now. And we have the create form. Now let's do the create form, and one thing I want to mention, let's do the style. But a very good practice is to create the styles files separately. Okay, so we click the folder, new file, and we'll call it styles.js, and we'll do it like this: const styles equals style sheet, and let's import it as well. Good, and we hit dot create parentheses brackets for the object. And now we will do the styles. Let's say, for example, let's call it just testing, and let's give it color red, okay? And now inside of this file we will write module that exports, okay, and then equals and styles. So what this line of code will do, we'll take the styles variable, and we'll export it. Okay, so this file right now exports this. So if we go to another file and import it, it will import this variable right here. So now we will go to index.js, and we will write in a new line import. Let's call it styles from, and as I said before, that slash will exit this file, and now it's in the create form folder. Okay, so we have in the same folder styles. So we hit styles, and it imported. Okay, so if we console.log styles, should display it to us. Okay, and as you can see, console log styles, it will throw us in the console log in the terminal the color red as I write it. Good. Now for this text, let's style equals styles and access the testing object, and it will apply this style to this component right here. So if we go to our application, we will see that the text is red. Good. So always do this, always separate the styles from the component. To be honest, just always separate everything you can. So if you find a new way to separate code from code, just do it, okay? It's like the best practice you can do in React. Good. Then let's go back to our application to see how it looks. Okay, so we have the header. And see, this is a very good example, okay? So we can take now this header, okay, and just export it to a component. Let's do that. Inside of screens, let's create a header folder, okay, index.js, and inside of index.js, let's export default header equals and then arrow function, okay, return, and inside of this we will put the header component, okay, return the header, and very important, import view and text, right, from React Native, and we will need as well the styles, so we will copy it, we will not cut it, we will copy it, go to header, and let's delete what we don't need. We don't need the screen one, delete, and we don't need the notes list one, so it's good. And okay, I don't and okay, we need to import the style sheet as well, and that's it. Good. And now inside of main, for example, we can import from, and now again 2 points to exit the folder. So we are exiting main, and now we are in screens, and we access the header folder. And now let's display inside of screen, okay, header. If we hit Ctrl S, okay, let's change this just to test that everything worked all right. Yeah, as you can see, it imported properly. Good. Let's hit Ctrl Z and leave this again commented. Okay, so we can see the create form, and let's keep creating the form. Good. So we have to import the header again and display it. And to be honest, it will be better to do this. Okay, and as I said before, you can see that we don't have a parent. Okay, we have a header component and then view component, and they don't have only one father. It will throw us an error. It will say JSX expression must have one parent element. Okay, so we can create another view, or we can do this, and it will be only one empty tag that will not change anything. Okay, so if we Ctrl S and we go to our phone, we will see that the header imported properly. So let's change the testing style. Let's leave it like this and just text align center. Okay, and one more thing, one more difference between this and CSS is that in CSS the values for the properties, they don't have guillemets. Okay, I can't remember right now how it's called in English. But yeah, we need to put it inside of this because it's a string, okay? Okay, and now let's work with text inputs. Good. We can do this. Instead of creating an opening and a closing tag, we can just do this, okay? And it will be only a closing tag, and the closing is at the end. Okay, it's not at the start, it's at the end. Okay, in cases you don't need childs inside of a component, you can do this. Okay, and this text input will have placeholder equal, and let's say title. And if we go to our phone, text input doesn't exist because we need to import it. Okay, and as you can see right here, we have the text input, and if we click it, it will open the keyboard. Okay, and now we will start something a little bit complex, but just stay with me, okay? And if you have any question, just let me know. Let's import, okay? Use state from React, okay? So it's React, normal React, it's not React Native, okay? As I said before, use state, it's for the state, and it will make sense right now. Okay, now inside of the component, okay, not inside the return, inside the component, we will do the next. We will create a const, a variable. We put squared brackets and let's say title and set title, okay? It will be equal to use state and the initial value will be an empty string, okay? And we will do exactly the same for description and set description, okay? So now we created two states. We created title and we created description. Good. What we need to do now is inside of the text input, we will put a new property, to say it like that, okay? On change text. Okay, so we put equal and we open brackets because inside will be JavaScript code. So every time the text changes, okay, so every time someone writes something, this function inside of it will fire, okay? So what we do now, inside of this, we will do a arrow function, okay? And as I said, every time the text changes, it will fire this function, okay? So it's this function that will do the next. We'll receive the input, okay? So automatically React will give us the input inside of this function, okay? And we will set title to the input, okay? And look at this cool thing, please. So let's put it here, title, okay? And now every time we write something, it will display, okay? Because you put a, now the text input changed, okay? So it will take the input, in this case a, and we'll set title to the input we just write down, okay? So now we are displaying here in create form, we are displaying the title variable, okay? The title state. And each time, as I said before, each time the state changes, React will redisplay, will re-render with the new value. So if we write anything, it will display here, okay? Good. Now let's do exactly the same for the description. Text input, placeholder equals description, on change text equals, and inside of this we will put input, okay? It receives the input, and with the input we'll set description to the input. We close the tag, and as you can see, we have title and description. Very good. Okay. That's it for now. Let's now add styles to this. So we go to the styles file and we will add text input. Okay. Again, we can call it how we want. So let's just better call it form input. Okay. To make the difference. And now we will give it a padding of 14. Background color, I think this is white already. Okay, yeah, so we don't need to put a background color. We will leave it like this, and let's say as well, let's give it a border width of 2 pixels. Okay, and the border color to yellow, for example. And now let's take these ones, and one thing you can do in VS Code is click right here, and then while holding Alt, okay, the Alt key, you can click here and it will select both of them, and you can write in both of them at the same time. So now we can put style equals, we open the brackets, styles dot it was form input, if I remember properly, and close the brackets, and it will throw us an error. Why? Border width. Okay, so it's not like this, it's just 2. Okay, it's already in pixels, that's why it threw an error. We reload. In case it gave you an error as well, you will reload, and as you can see right now, we have the styles added. Let's not spend more time in the style because maybe we will not have time to finish the application, so let's get to the next thing. Okay, now we have the form, and we have the main screen as well. But how do we go from one to another? Well, let's do the next. We will go to the terminal. Okay, we click on it and we press Ctrl and C. After pressing Ctrl and C, it will stop the server. And now we need to install the next. We will write like this: npm, as I said before, node package manager, npm install, and we will need React navigation / native, and also we just put space to install this one as well. With very important with Aron, we need to write React navigation and install as well the native stack. Okay, so we will need to install this this one. I will copy and I will send it to you through Teams. Let me find it first of all. Chat. Okay, so you will have it in the chat. Good. Copy paste it and run it, or you can write it and then enter, and it will install. And this is also worth mentioning. This is how we install packages through npm. We wait for it. Okay, and now we write again npm run start, enter. If it okay, no, it will not throw an error right now, but we will check in a second. Okay, we wait for it to start. And if we go back to our application, it will show us this: cannot connect to Metro. In this case, we will go to the terminal, we click on it, and we hit R, and it will reload. Okay, and now we are in the application again. It doesn't show us the same error, so it's good. Okay, now we have React navigation installed, as I said before. Now you can just use this package, and you will see how easy it is. We go to app.js, and we will import the next. First of all, we will import create native stack navigator. Okay, if you're writing it by hand, please see where we have capitalized letters. Okay, from, and inside of this we will put around React native and native stack. Okay, and then import navigator container, navigation container, excuse me. Okay, from React navigation. Okay, and it's the native one. Okay, what error do we have? Okay, I forgot to put the around, so it should be good. Yeah, it is. And now we need to do the next. Inside of the component, not inside of the JSX, we need to first of all const stack equals create native stack navigator, and this is a function. Okay, so what this will do, it will create a native stack navigator, and then it will give the value to the stack variable. Okay, and then we will use, in 2 seconds, we will use this stack variable. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is inside of JSX right now, we will need to use the navigation container. Okay, and inside of it, we'll do the next. We will open tag stack dot navigator. Okay, so we have stack dot navigator. It will take this object and it will create the navigator, and inside of it we will put the next stack dot screen, again with capitalized letters, and then we'll put the next name equals, and how we want to call it. In this case, I will call it main. Okay, and excuse me, the next will be component, and it will equal to the component. In this case, we will use the main page. Okay, so this will be the first screen. It will be called main, and the component that will display is main page. And now we will close it, but it's not a parent element, so we can just hit / and close the tag. And we will do exactly the same for the create form. So now stack.screen name equals, and let's call it create form, component equals, and the create form, we call it exactly the same, so create form, and again / and close tag. And this right here, we can just delete it. Okay, so we delete it, we save, and if we go back to our application, we will see that we have the main screen, and we will also have here a header showing us that we are in the main screen. I don't want to use this header, okay, so we will do the same. The next, excuse me. To the stack navigator, we will add screen options equals with open brackets, and the thing is, screen options will add this option that we will put to all the screens, okay? So individually to each screen we will add the next. We need to create an object, okay? So inside the brackets we have the brackets for the JavaScript code and these brackets for the JavaScript object, okay? So we will need to pass the next. Header shown 2 points false, so we don't want to show the header, okay? And if we hit Ctrl S and we go to our application, we will see that the header is not longer there. And the next thing we need to add, well, we don't need to, but it's a good practice too, initial route name, okay? And it will be main, okay? But it's with capitalized M. And the thing is, every time you open the application, you will make sure that the first page you will see is main, okay? That's why we use initial route name. And this is it, okay? Now, what we need to do to navigate to one page, one screen to the other. We will go to main, okay? Because it's displaying us this screen. And let's create a button that will do this, okay? So the next thing we will do is inside of this view, okay? So this is the screen view that we created, that it's containing all the data in our screen. This is the view for the content, okay? So inside of this we will create touchable opacity. So I present you the button, okay? This is a parent element because inside of it we need to put text, okay? The text that we want to for it to appear in the, excuse me, in the component, okay? So we need to import the touchable opacity. Good. And here we will hit text and inside let's say create, okay? Okay, and now if we Ctrl S and we go to our application, we have the button. When we click it, we will see some feedback. Let's style it a little bit, not very much. Let's just put style equals styles dot, let's say button container, okay? And let's add one style for the text inside of the button as well, okay? Because they will be treated differently. And this one we will call it button text. Good. Now let's go down to our styles. I will not externalize this because it's good practice, but let's not waste our time right now. And we will start with the button container, okay? And the container, I want the container to have the background color to yellow, okay? And the button text will have the next, we'll have padding of 16 for it to look better. Border radius, let's add 32. I will show you right now what this does. And I think this should be it. And text align as well. Center. Go to our application and we can see the button. Let's add as well some margin 32 to differentiate it. What did I do? There is something wrong. I can see notes list, button container. Okay, this background color, I think it should be added this instead of the, okay, yeah, that was my mistake, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so the background color should be inside of the text, and we have the button right here, okay? And now we have it styled. Let's do the logic behind it. So to the touchable opacity, we will add the props on press, okay? So inside of it we will pass a function, and this will be the function that will run when we press the button. Now we will create the function. No, we don't need to create it in the component, so we will put it right here inside of an arrow function again. Okay, so arrow function, and it will run the next navigation that navigate. Okay, come on VS Code, leave me alone, please. Navigation that navigate. we open parentheses and we'll put the name of the screen that we want to go to. In this case, it will be create form, excuse me. So we are going to from main to create form. So inside of it, we will put create form. Okay. And now if we go to our application and we hit the button, it will throw us an error. Why? Because navigation doesn't exist. And that's true. The thing is, when we put a component inside of a stack, not a stack, inside of a navigator, because we have a lot of navigators, we have stack, we have bottom tabs, we have a lot of them. Inside of a navigator, it will automatically send a prop to the component with the navigation object, okay? So inside of the component here, so this is the component by itself, and here this is its value. The function will take the parameter navigation, okay, inside of an object. This that's why I used brackets here, because it's receiving an object, and the object is containing navigation, okay? So now we have here navigation that we miss input, I'm sorry, okay? And now if we go to our application, will be good. If we hit create, it will now display us the create form, okay? So amazing, very good. What we will do next, the next thing we will do is install async storage. So again, we will hit on the terminal, click Ctrl+C, and we will stop the server. And now npm install, and we will write this React Native async storage, no, without storage, just async / async storage. I will copy this and send it to you through Teams as well. Okay, so we hit install. Let me send it to you if you don't want to write it. React Native async storage should be like this. It throw me an error, but I don't understand why. So it's without a run, I think. Let me check. No. Okay, let's search for it then. React async storage, this one. Okay, so installation npm install. Okay, so it was with storage. Okay, so excuse me, it's this one. I will delete the other one. Okay, so it's with storage, so it's React Native async storage, enter. And now we do install it. And now let's start the server again, npm run start. And let's hit reload. Okay. And now, okay, what we need to do now? Let's go to the create form code. Now we need to take title and description, create an object. Let's call it a new node, will be equal to title and description. Okay. And now we will create a function. Let's create const handle submit. That will be equal to an arrow function. Okay. And now let's see how we use async storage. I also need to present you asynchronous functions. What are asynchronous functions? Are functions that will take some time to, how can I say, to execute. Okay, so for example, if we are fetching data from a database, we're sending a request to a database to send us back data. Okay, that will take some time. It's not instantaneous. So it's an async function. And I will not dive in it, but to do declare an async function, we will just write before the function by itself async. Okay, so now we declare the fact that this function, this arrow function, excuse me, it's an async function. Okay, it will take some time to execute. And now inside of it, we can use the keyword await. I will show you right now what is it. And now let's do const data. Okay. And await, because the next function that we will call will take some time to execute, and we will use async. You can see async, okay? Async storage. I forgot to import it, okay? So we import it. We write import async storage from React Native async storage, okay, what we just installed. And now async storage that get item parentheses and the name. Let's call it a nodes list, okay? Good. Now, what we are doing, we are waiting for it to execute, okay? So till it doesn't execute, we will not go to the next function. We will do more functions. We will wait for this function to execute, and then we will go to the next one. That's what await does, okay? So we wait for this function to execute, and this function will access the async storage, that is the storage of the phone, okay? And we will get the item with this key name, okay? So the async storage of the phone will store items, and it will be stored in key value pairs, the same as the objects, okay? And we are trying to get the item with the key nodes list. Good. The thing is, if it searches for the item nodes list and it doesn't find it, it will return null, okay? So the data will be equal to null. In this case, the nodes list doesn't exist. Now let's do a conditional. If, what did I do? Okay, if data, and we will put here the exclamation point because this is the not operator. Okay, if data doesn't exist, we will do the next. We will await, we will execute this function, async storage that set item, and the first value that we send to set item is the ID, excuse me, the key for this storage object, and we will call it nodes list, okay? Good. Now we put comma, and stay with me. Now we need to store an item. The thing is that async storage can hold only string values, okay? So we cannot save directly the object. This is first of all. The second of all is that we are not passing only one node. We will not have only one node. We will have a list of nodes, and the list of nodes will be an array of more nodes. So first of all, we will do the next. We will JSON dot stringify, okay, because we are converting an object to a string. We open parentheses, and we will pass the next. We will pass an object, okay, with nodes, 2 points, and it will be an array. And this array now will contain the new node, okay? So what we did here, we took the new node that we just created, okay, title and description. We saved it in an array, okay, this is an array. Let's separate it so we can see this is an array, okay, the square brackets are for arrays. We put this node inside of the array, okay, then the array is saved in a nodes property, that is property of this object right here, okay? So this is a JavaScript object that contains a property nodes that contains all the nodes, okay? I hope you understood it. If you didn't, let me know right now. You know that word, speak now or silence forever. So if we don't have, if we understood, we don't have any problems, then we can keep going, okay? Then this object that we created right here, we converted it to a string, as I said before. So the async storage, can store it, okay? So it's good. So this will try to get the item nodes list, and if it doesn't exist, it will create it, okay? So this will happen only once, because only once this will be null, okay? And let's do one more thing. Because I don't know why async storage sometimes it returns null and sometimes it returns a string called null. So if data doesn't exist or data is equal to null, okay, it will fire this function. And then we also want, after we created the node, for the node to send us back to the main page, okay? So we will also do navigation that navigate to main. Again, okay, it auto-completed me because I think I didn't, yeah, okay, so I didn't pass the navigation object, okay? We need to pass the navigation object here as well. Good, okay, this will happen if the data doesn't exist. So if the nodes list doesn't exist yet, this will happen. One second. Okay. Now, if the data does exist, we'll do the next else, and we'll await that no, without that, sorry, async storage that no, we need to convert this. I'm sorry. Okay, so we already got the item and it's stored in data. The thing is, data right now is a string, and this string we need to convert it to JavaScript object. So const nodes will be equal to JSON.parse. We open parentheses, and then we will parse data. Okay, so it will take the data. Where is data? Here is data. We'll take the data object that we received from the get item, okay, and it will convert it to an object so we can work with it. And now we will create another variable. It will be const final nodes, or no, let's say return nodes will be equal to. And now the data object is where is it? Is this object right here? Okay, so we need to access nodes. No, let's not call it. No, it's good. Okay, nodes dot nodes. Okay, so it will return us this object, and we need to access the nodes property that contains all the nodes. So we need to do nodes dot nodes. Okay, and then we need to okay, excuse me. Okay. Set items, get items, we got the data, we parsed it, we saved it in nodes, and then return nodes will be equal to nodes dot nodes. Okay, and we need to put this inside of an array, and we will use the spread syntax. Okay, these three dots right here will take all the elements inside of this array and will spread them. Okay, so if we had 3 nodes right here, this will equal to the 3 nodes. Okay, so we have the return nodes, these nodes, and the new node that we just created. Okay, so now the return nodes is this right here, is the same array that we had before, but with the new node added to it. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is await async storage dot now set item. Okay, the item will be nodes list. Wait, because I don't see myself right now. Good. So set item, the key that we want to set, and now we will pass the same as before, the object, and inside of it will be nodes, the property nodes, and the new nodes will be return nodes. And the thing is, the object we need to stringify it, so we will do json.stringify. Okay, and this should be it. Now let's check what this does till now, and let's add the navigate as well to be sure. Okay, and what does this do? It will try to take the item with nodes list key and store it in data. If this doesn't exist already, data will be null. Okay, so if data is doesn't exist, it's null, it's undefined, it's equal to 0, anything. If it doesn't exist or it's equal to null, then we will set the nodes list. That will be an object, this object right here. Its property and only property will be nodes, and nodes will contain the new node. Okay, because it's the first one. Because it didn't exist before, we just created it. And after doing this, that's why we use await. We will wait for this. It will navigate to main. Good. In case it does exist, so in case we already have nodes, it will do the next. It will take the data that we got from the async storage, that is a string, okay, a JSON. We'll convert it to an object and store it in nodes. So nodes, right now, let's create a comment. Nodes will be equal to nodes and the string with all nodes. Okay, this is nodes right now. The return nodes will be nodes dot nodes, so it will take the property nodes from nodes. that is this string, this array right here, will spread all the nodes inside of it, okay? And besides of that, we'll add the new node and we'll store it in return nodes, okay? So now return nodes will be equal to an array, okay, with all nodes and yeah, okay, and the new node. Good. And after that, we will set the item nodes list. We will replace it with this return nodes that has the last nodes and the new node, okay? We'll replace it, we'll convert the object to a string and we'll store it. And after storing it, after the wait, it will navigate to main. Now let's check if this works. Before that, let's also do a console log with data, or no, let's do a console log so we can see what we are doing with the new node, okay, in each case. And now we will go to, we don't have the create button, okay, we'll have the create button, let's do it. Okay, we have touchable opacity doesn't exist, we need to import it, so we import touchable opacity, should display. This looks like this. And now to touchable opacity we will add on press, we open brackets for JavaScript code, and now we will execute this function. Now you will think, okay, I need to just put handle submit and that's it. No, the thing is, if you do that, if you will do this handle submit with the parentheses, it will fire this function on the spot and again and again and again. Why? Because this is JavaScript code. It's not a function, it's JavaScript code. So inside of this code, we are calling this function. And this code right here will happen, okay? You don't need to call it, it will happen because it's code. So we need to put an arrow function calling this function, okay? Now, what we did in the JavaScript code, we created a function that will call this function, okay? It's called a callback. And when we press the button, we'll fire this function, okay? So let's Control S, and if everything went all right, and we hit create, okay, it's empty. So let's new node, first one, okay, and we hit create. Okay, we have right here description, first one and title new one. Okay, so everything went all right. It created the node. Now let's do the next. Let's first of all do a function in main that will always return us the nodes. We'll check for the nodes and then display it. We will go to the main file, okay, and we will use a hook, but this hook is from React navigation, I think. So we write import use focus effect, and yeah, it's from React navigation native, okay, so we import use focus effect, and we will also need import use callback from React, okay. Good, so we imported these two hooks, focus effect and use callback. Okay, what does this do? The use focus effect, every time you display this screen right here, I think I explained it before, it will run the function that we want to run, okay? So to do this, inside of the component, we will use focus effect, okay, and only parentheses. And now, every time we focus the screen, we will do one callback. So we will write use callback. This is from React, okay? And the use callback will receive two parameters. The first parameter is a function that we want to fire, and the second one is called the dependency array, if I remember properly. Okay, so this callback function will fire every time what we put inside of it will change. Okay, in this case, we only want to fire it once. So every time the screen focuses, it will call back the function only once. Okay, if we don't put this dependency array, it will keep running the function again and again and again, and we don't want that, okay? We only want it to fire once. So now, as the first parameter, we will pass the function. In this case, we will pass the arrow function, okay? Good. And now we have use callback, and okay, inside of use callback, we will declare a function, and we will call it get nodes. Okay, that will be equal to another arrow function. Why? Because this is asynchronous. We will need it. You will see, because we are working again with async storage, so we need it to be asynchronous. And if we put here async, it will have throw us an error. Okay, so we will do another function that will be async. And inside of get nodes, we will do the next. We will create a new state, so we need to import use state from React. And inside of the component, not inside of use focus, not inside of use callback, inside of the component, we will do a const, and let's call it nodes, and set nodes. That will be equal to use state, and an empty string. Okay, so we created a new state called nodes. And now, inside of the focus effect, we want every time we render the screen, we want to get the nodes from the async storage. Okay, so that's what we will do. We will create a new constant data, and we will it will be async equal to async storage, and the very important, the await keyword. So we will wait for this to extract. Async storage dot get item. It was nodes list. Okay, and that's it. Okay, now we need to set nodes. Okay, and the set nodes will be equal to JSON.parse data, because we want to convert the data to a JavaScript object. Okay, so we set the nodes with parsing the data, converting to an object, and out of this we will take the nodes property. Okay, because as I said before, it's an object, and the object has a property that is called nodes, and nodes has the actual nodes. So we will set the nodes with this property right here. Okay, and then let's console.log the nodes. Okay, so these nodes are the state nodes. Okay, to see that everything worked. Okay, so we created the function, and now we will call the function. Okay, so we created it, and we want to call it every time the screen focuses. And now let's check if everything went all right. If we hit Ctrl S, it will give us an error. Async storage doesn't exist. Okay, import async storage. Now if we hit Ctrl S, everything okay, so the function fires, but it doesn't show us anything, I think. Okay, let's see where is the issue. Let's console load data. Okay, so the data is good, so we don't need to do this, I think. Oh no, it's good. It was good. Yeah, we have it right here. It was good. We don't need to change anything. So we have the array with nodes. Okay, so nodes right now will be fetched. It's called fetching every time we focus this screen. And now we have the array with all the objects, and we want to display it. For this, we will use the flat list. So flat list. Okay, and now let's take out this console.log. We don't need it. We will go to the code in main, and under this button right now, up above it, we will create the flat list, and the flat list will not have any sons, so we can just do this with the slash. And we have the next, if I remember properly, is data equals, and now here we need to pass the data that we want to process. And then let me check to be sure. We have data, and then we have render items. Okay, and this property right here will fire this function for every item. Okay, so inside of it we will do the next. We will create an arrow function, and we will do an object item. So each item from nodes will be processed and it will return. The thing is, we will not return something with brackets, because with brackets we're returning JavaScript content. In this case, we want to return something visible, something from JSX, okay? And JSX, as we saw before, the return is with parentheses. So we don't put right here parentheses, we don't put brackets, we put parentheses because we want these things to show. We want to return JSX content, okay? So we will return, and for each item, we will return the next. We will return a text that contains the item.title, and item.title will be inside of brackets, because again, this is a JavaScript variable. And the next text will be, again with brackets, okay, will be item.description. Good. And it will throw us an error because, again, JavaScript, React Native components need to have a parent. So we will do a view for each, because we will style it a little bit later, okay? Good. So now for each node, we'll render this. We'll render a new view for each node, a new view with the item title and the item description. The thing is, if we save this and we go to the code, okay, it's not doing anything. Yeah, because we need to do the next, okay? Now it will take place the conditional rendering, because right now in this moment when it executes, the node's state, it's undefined, because as I said before, the async functions will take some time to execute. So when we render the page, what we return, the visual stuff, will happen instantly. But the asynchronous function will take some time, maybe milliseconds, will be maybe 1 millisecond, okay? Even if it's not feasible for us, for the program it is. So in the exact moment that the rendering takes place, the items render, the node's state, it's still undefined. It doesn't show anything because it doesn't exist. So what we need to do is, we will display this flat list after the nodes exist. So for this, we will wrap the flat list inside of brackets, because we are doing JavaScript code. And now, when nodes exist, okay, we will show this. So this and in React Native, when the code in the left is equal to true, we'll take this as a conditional. When this is true, it will display this. So nodes exists, flat list will show. Nodes doesn't exist, flat list will not show. So nodes exist, flat show. If we control S, let me check why it's not re-rendering, because it's not firing the function. Everything should be alright. I don't understand why. Oh, I forgot to put the console log of nodes. Alright, so nodes does exist. Okay. And we have here the flat list. It should throw us an error, but I don't know why I don't see it. Anyways, here should be an error. Why? Because, let me check. So flat list exists. Data, it's nodes, and nodes is an array. Okay, well, anyways, it should have thrown us an error, because when we are doing a flat list with each element should have an ID that it's called. For the flat list, it's called key. In this case, we didn't mention any key, and normally it should have thrown an error. Now it's not throwing an error, but it's not working either. So what we need to do is to flat list, we need to add a key extractor. Okay, and now the thing is, we don't have an ID for the nodes, and we need to do that. So we will go to the create form, and now we have here the new nodes, and to this we will create a new property that will be ID 2 points, and let's create without 2 points. Const ID will be equal to math dot random. Okay, what we'll do this is generate a random number. The thing is, this math.random will be a number between 0 and 1 with I think it's 10 decimals or something like that. In this case, we will need to multiply it to, let's say, 1 million, okay, to give us 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, so 1 million, and it will be a chance 1 in 1 million for this node to exist already. Okay, so in cases in which you used a database, the database will generate an ID automatically for you, or you can just start an ID and keep adding 1 1 1. In this case, I want to do with math random. Okay, so to this math random, what we'll do is generate a code, a number from 0 to 1. That could be 1.7 million numbers. Okay, then we'll multiply to 1 million. It will give us that number, and this I want to convert it to an integer. Okay, so we will do this through math.floor. Okay, floor, and we have the ID. Okay, the randomly generated ID, and the new node will have as well some ID on them. Okay, good. Now one more thing. Let's change the name of the nodes item, and let's call it final nodes list. Okay, so the item right now in storage will be final nodes list. We need to change it in the code as well, change it in set item, and change it in get item as well. And after you did it, we will go back to the main page, and let's change it right here as well, get item, final nodes list. Okay, and now the key extractor, what will it do? It will fire a function for every item as well. Okay, so we pass the item to it, and then for each item it will take what we return with it, through it. So we will return the item that ID, and it throws an error. Okay, because okay, we need to do the thing with get nodes as well here. If the nodes doesn't exist, we need to create even if it's empty. So now we will do the next. If, again as before, data doesn't exist or data is equal to null, okay, we will await an async storage that set item. Okay, and we will set an object that we will then parse. So the object will be nodes equal and an empty array. Okay, so the thing is, we need to have something in it, anything but something. Okay, so the first time the user fires the application, it will check if data exists. It doesn't, of course, if the item exists, and then it will create it. So set item final nodes list. Okay, this is the first parameter, the name of the key, and then the value. And this object needs to be parsed, right? No, stringified to be passed then to async storage. Okay, so it should work now. Okay, sets the item, and in case data exists, and we will also need to set the nodes to this set nodes to the get item. Okay, and we do await again. If you are lost, I will explain it in a second. Get item, and we'll get the item final nodes list, and then this we will convert it to an object, and from this we will need to take the nodes property. Good. And then we will console.log nodes to check if everything went properly, and then the else, in case the data does exist, we will set the nodes to the JSON parse. Okay, yeah, it will take the string, will convert it, and will return that nodes. So now, okay, I think it's good. Let's check. Create it, and okay. So it was created, but it's not displaying. I think this is the issue. Is this? It's not. So we have somewhere item title, okay. Title, description, the ID, we have the ID, but it's not displaying. And I don't understand why. So we have a view, we have the item. Let's do as well to see if it executes. It should be good. Let's then remove the flexes. Maybe it's that. Nodes and flat list. Style is good right here. Item is good. Notes is good. Everything should be working. Because the nodes are saved, but the flat list is not working. So it's something with the flat list. If you see the error, please let me know. Render. Is this? Is this? Okay, so I think this was the most embarrassing mistake of my life. So it's not render items, it's render item. Okay, so that was the issue. And now this flat list will take every item, and for each item will render its title and description, as we can see right here. So now if we go to create, we put second node, for example, description, and we hit create. It will return us to the main page, and it will give us the content. Now we have some time left, so we can style it a little bit. Let's add to the item a style. Styles that individual node, for example. Let's go to styles, and let's add some padding of 12, and let's add a border radius because it looks very beautiful, 24, and then let's add the I wanted to add a shadow, but I think it's too much. Okay, let's add as well text align, but I think this one should be added to the text once. Yeah, so this text align, let's add it to, let's create two new styles. I will say node title, and let's create as well node description, and we will add for each one the text align. And to the title I want to add a font weight to be bold, and to the description I will leave it like this. I think, let's see how it looks like. Let's add to the individual node as well. Okay, some border width will be with equal with 2, and then border color, let's say yellow, and let's add a node title and node description to the styles. Node title, description. Okay, and let's play some more with these. what could I add? To the flat list, I will add a style, and I will call it nodes list. No, it exists already. So let's say nodes flat list, and to the nodes flat list, let's add some flex. Okay, let's add some padding. Let's say 12. Let's add as well wrap. It's a flex wrap. And let's say wrap. Okay. And let's add as well width of 50%. For not for this, but for the individual node, and it's looking like this. Why? Okay. What else could we do to make it look better? I think, yeah, it looks better without wrap. Let's add some margin as well. Okay. And to the button, let's put it down right here. So for that, I will give it a position of absolute button container. Okay, so I will, where is it? Button container, it doesn't have anything, it doesn't, okay. Position absolute, because it will look better. If we make like a lot of nodes, it will stay like here, and it will not, we will create, even if we have 1,000 nodes, it will look, it will be here, and we can just create another one very easily without scrolling down. So let's give a position absolute with a bottom of 32, for example, let's say. 64. It's top, not bottom, I think, like this. Okay, and let's give it the bottom one. Let's give it 32. And the thing is, I want it to be at the end. So, well, these are some things that we want to do to the style to make it look better, but they are not. There is nothing else very hard to do. Position absolute. No, let's leave it like this. We'll have put a position absolute, then throw it down. But it will take some time because we need to like then change the flex of the parent. So we will leave it like this. And let's do one more thing. I want to show you how we can delete nodes as well, and I think that's it for today. For that, let's create a touchable opacity button. Okay, with text inside of it, that will be equal to delete. Okay, and now let's create a new function, handle delete. And this will be an async function. Oops, not here. Good. And now we need to extract the nodes. So we will parse JSON.parse. Okay, and it will be async storage. We'll do the await async storage dot get item, and this will receive the ID of the item. Okay, we'll see later how we pass it. So we create a variable extracted nodes. We will parse what we get from the async storage, get item, and it's async with big A. we'll get the item final nodes list. Okay, and then const final nodes will be the extracted nodes. That nodes, because again we have the object with the property nodes, and then this one we need to filter it. Okay, so what we'll do this, it's apply for each item from nodes, we'll apply this function. Well, function, it's a condition. Okay, so if it doesn't meet the condition, it will not we will filter, and if it meets the condition, it will be returned. So for each node, let's call it node, we call it how we want, we will do this. We will return every element that its ID, node's ID, it's different from the ID that we passed. Okay, so this will take the nodes array, we'll check if each node from it has the ID different than the ID we passed. Okay, and if it does have it differently, it will return it, so it will be stored in final nodes. The next thing we need to do is save this, so we will do the async await async storage dot set item, the name, okay, and then we need to pass this, so we need to parse it to stringify it, stringify the final nodes. Okay, so it will take the object, it will convert it in JSON string, and then it will save it to final nodes list. And after this, we will do set nodes to final nodes as well. And that's it. I will also delete these console logs because as you can see, we have 3000 here. Okay. And I think this should be it. So if we hit delete, okay, I didn't make the on press, so to the delete button we will put on press, and on press will call this function that will call the function handle delete, and to handle delete we will pass the item that ID. So if you hit delete, it will delete, but it deleted more than it needed to. And I don't understand why. So let's check. Okay, it's only with one equals. This is it. I hope you liked the tutorial, and if you have questions, please just let me know. Okay. Now, the very important thing are the concepts. Okay, it's not always important the framework, it's important the concept of it. So like making the delete operations, making the extracting data, the use focus effect, these things are important. If you know these basic concepts, if you know the theory part, I know theory is boring, but if you know the theory part, then the practice of it, the application will be very easy. Okay, in any framework, any language, anything you need. So again, if you have questions, you can just ask me right now. You can send me an email, you can send me a WhatsApp, anything you need, just let me know. So right now, do we have any questions?
What kind of database did you use?
When? Now or in general?
No, because I assume that it's one is a cloud database, JSON based.
No, this async storage, so to store data we just async storage, is the storage of the phone itself. Okay, so we are storing the values in the phone storage.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay, then, if we don't have any other question, thank you very much. Good luck. Please write in React Native, it's amazing, to be honest. And, well, can't wait to see you on the final. So, thank you very much to everyone, and have an amazing day.
Thank you, bye.